Hello everyone, welcome to another Halstad review. Today I'm reviewing AQUA Biodiversity in the Ocean. This is published by the Op Games and Sidekick Games, so I'd like to thank the Op for sending over a copy for review. First of all, the artwork and the way that this is presented is fantastic. You'll see that throughout. This is for 1 to 4 players. And 30 to 45 minutes. You know, first play, you want to probably land on that longer time frame. But we'll show you the components of the game, talk about some of the gameplay, and some of my thoughts on this one here. So opening the box here, it's got a great rule book, first of all. It's got pictures on the setup. Everything's explained very well. All the, tiles and terms are well defined. They have these sections here that kind of define out those different terms that are used. It gives examples of placement, just really well laid out. It's a very simple concept or very simple game to learn how to play and teach. Very easy to get to the table. Makes for a great family game, but a lot of great variability built into this too. Great strategy, looks great on the table. So there's just a lot of good things going for it. The rule book just laid out really well. It does include, a scoring example here. There are different ways that you can play the kind of core game, ecosystems as they call it, end game scoring goals that you're working towards. But there's if you're going to play an advanced game, there's more ecosystems that you can utilize to shuffle up and use at random. The family game scoring, you can simplify it so you basically don't score reefs or ecosystems, these end scoring things. Just keep it really simple. You're going to score the points on these small animal and large animal tiles that you acquire, so that simplifies it for younger players. Again, solo rules, pretty straightforward. As far as that goes, very simple. It's not complicated. So it's, there's really not a lot that changes. Basically, you're going to have your pick of tiles. You take one, just as that, and you're just trying to get your points here. It gives you an idea of how well you did as well, which I really appreciate. Sometimes solo games, they'll lay out, and then you're like, I don't know if this is a good score or not. You can see I haven't filled in any of the achievements or scenarios yet, but really cool that they built this into here. And it basically allows you to play just set kind of ecosystems. Some have very specific objectives here for that. So very, very cool challenges. Then they also include animals of AQUA. So it actually has just a little bit of information for all the different things that you see in there. Really cool. It's also got this just kind of reference for those different ecosystems, the end game scoring on the back. And, for those who may struggle with kind of color blindness, color is a big aspect to this, but you do have animals, and there is specific type of like coral on each of those that can help with that as well, if that is an issue. So really, really well laid out. The insert is great. You build this insert the first time. Instructions for that, it's pretty straightforward. Put that together, holds everything in place really, really well. So I was very pleased to see that, and that's always a huge bonus. You also have score pad in here, which also helps in like scoring. Okay, let's score the large animals, the small animals, the reefs, and the different ecosystems. So that's nice, and those are double-sided too, which is awesome. Again, you open this up, there's no cards. It's all tile, all cardboard. So lots and lots of cardboard. But everything's just really well designed. The artwork's really great. You have the sea snail token, which is going to help keep track of first player from round to round. These are your four, you have 4 tokens here that are going to be your starting points. They have reference as well. One of the rule setups is that depending on how many players there are, you're going to remove that many of the coral tiles from the game. And so really nice that they just, you know, why not include that on the reverse side here. Really appreciate that as well. So just, it's nice, you don't have to go in the rule book. Again, the game is simple as it is, so you can reference this, you know, shuffle up the tiles, and then flip that over and you're ready to begin. So got those. These are the different ecosystem tiles here. So endgame scoring, you can think of them as endgame scoring. The setup of the game, very simple, especially if you're just utilizing the core rules there. You're gonna lay those out here. Everyone's gonna take a little starting tile. And then you do have your large animal tiles here in this area. It's nice here, even in the insert, you'll see at the bottom here, hey, this is where you put your large animals. Here are some other of the ecosystems, and you can see in there, hey, that's everything that goes in there. So again, just really appreciate the production value of AQUA, just because everything's laid out really, really well in the box itself. So with that, with these animal tiles, large animal tiles, again, all the cardboard here is really, really good quality. It's got a good thickness to it. Everything just looks really nice. These are double-sided, that large animals, just for looks, which is cool. So you can either have this octopus here or a manta ray. There's either way, they're worth 10 points. We got a dolphin on this side, and is that a walrus on that other side? I can't remember. But you have just some cool graphics and everything, worked really great. But what you're gonna do, you're gonna separate these out into piles. They do have different values on them. And so depending on like a 2 to 3 player game, you're going to remove some of the tiles. So some of the tiles have this little symbol on there. And so if you're playing with 2 or 3 players, you're gonna remove those from the game. But if you're playing 4 player or solo, you actually, well, I can't remember on solo, honestly, on that. But anyway, so there are some specific cases there. You would remove those, but basically you stack up the other tiles. So whoever gets to that first is going to get more points than the other person, right? So it's kind of a race on these. They have different points. So you got 11 and 7 here. This one here, you know, a whale. So we have 15 and 11. Anyway, so you just kind of stack those up with the largest. Pretty simple and straightforward for that. You may not be able to see all those. With that, you also, again, have lots and lots of these little tiles. All of these are small animal tiles, and then all of these are going to be your different reef tokens. So as I pull these out here, you can keep them in these stacks. And you're basically gonna shuffle these up. You can take like one of each or whatever, but you're basically just gonna randomize those somehow. And you're gonna just randomly place these small animals in front of, and there's like a little notch you can see on these tokens for those animals to be placed. So these are how you're gonna score points. Again, you're gonna score points by attracting these different small animals and large animals. Whenever you see those shell tokens, those are your point value right there. So you can see each of these are slightly different. So you got a bunch of 2-pointers. These are going to be 3-point. These are also 3-point. And some more 3-points here. So again, variability, even just within the core setup here, these animals are going to be tied to, or they say native to, these different ecosystems, and that will determine some kind of bonus, like end game scoring for that. And we'll talk about that a little bit. So other than that, you're going to take these tiles and you're going to shuffle those up. The only thing that I think, again, very cool, right? The insert shows you where everything goes. With the tiles, you're going to shuffle these up. Again, I love shuffling cardboard. These cardboard tiles and stuff, pretty great. A lot of other games, you might have like a bag or something where you shuffle these. But I really just kind of like shuffling them up this way, just like a deck of cards, rather than like sticking them in a bag. So, but you'll shuffle those up, and then from round to round, it's really quite simple. You're going to flip over some tiles, number of players +1. So if we had, say, a 2-player game, you have 3 different tiles out there. Someone's going to be the first player, so they'll have that token. And they will basically have first choice, and they're going to choose one of the available tiles. They're going to choose that tile, and then they are going to place it in their area. And it has to match and line up with one of the colors. So that would be okay. I would not be able to place it like that because none of these colors are matching with a side of there. So I could go over here, I could go over here. But you have to have at least one matching there. So I don't know what we would do, but let's just say we'll do that. Then it would be the other player's turn. They could choose at this point to take the snail. Basically what that does is it's going to say, hey, you know what? I'm good with either of these tiles. I'm going to take this, and this allows me to go first, pick next round. So they would simply take that, pass their turn. I would get to choose again. And I may place it like something like so. And you continue on. So whenever you create 3, you actually are going to, with this hexagon shape, all the same color, you're going to immediately take the small animal of that color and place it on here. And that's where, like, if you were unsure, so like I don't have issues with color, but this matches with that. So you can reference this if you're like, what's the purple or what's this, shape? Which animal? It's this one here. So that would get me 3 points. All right. Then it goes on to the next person. They're going to be able to take this one. Maybe they would place it like so. And then they would set up the next round. They would draw 3 new tiles. They would put this in here and choose one of these tiles to add to theirs. They may choose this one and get a yellow. And then again, they could, at this point in this 2-player game, they could choose either one of these. They really wanted to grab one over the other. Don't know that it really matters. Maybe they'd pass and decline to take one, and then it would go on to the next player and so on. So what you're trying to do, though, throughout the game is create these little habitats, if you will, for the small animals to come into. After you get multiple tiles out here, right? If we're able to just quickly create another set here. They would attract this animal. At the end of that round, or as you're playing, you have the choice. At this point, I could attract one of these large animals. So the thing with these is you have to be able to cover or have small animals all underneath it. So it's just a simple 2. So I would not be able to place a larger one of these yet because I don't have another small animal to go over. But you'll see they have different kind of layouts or shapes to how those go and different points. So this a little bit smaller points, but I can race to it and get a 5 point instead of 3 points later on and place it over. You will still be getting these points at the end of the game. These will get removed. You'll score those points, then you'll score these other points as well. So that's really the game you're going to play until you basically cannot, you removed a certain number of these at the beginning of the game. And when you run out of the tiles you're playing with, you cannot refill the market again. The game is going to end and you're going to go to scoring. You're going to score the large animals, the small animals, and then these ecosystems. So how do the ecosystems work? There's kind of 2 kinds. These are like localized, there's a symbol for that, or global. And so localized means it actually matters like where the tiles are located. Whereas these are just kind of doesn't matter where they are, you're going to get points for those. So how do those work? I can reference this again. But basically these, so again, it changes each game. So for the green tiles here are little tortoises. Pretty cool. They're going to score 1 additional point for those small animals, or for every small animal you have that is adjacent to this one here. So any color, including its own. So you want to get these ones on the board surrounded by other small animals. It's going to get you 1 extra point for each of those animals that surround it. For this one here, for example, for each barracuda or Monterey eel, whatever side you're on, you're going to score 2 points for every native small animal you have. So it just gives you some extra bonus points, right? So if I get this large animal and I have this, then I get 2 points for every one of those, for every yellow that I have on the board. Could be underneath, could be wherever, right? It's global. It doesn't matter where it is in my board, as long as I have them. And again, it incentivizes me to get, well, if I get 2 of these, I'm going to score 2 points for each of those yellows 2 times. So you can see there's 1 for each of the different animals there. So very, very fun. I love the quality of the components, the simplicity of it. It looks really, really great. There's some interesting points and scoring there. I didn't really talk about the reef scoring yet. Reefs are a little bit different. So instead of habitats, where you are making kind of that hexagon shape, if you have an area where it is growing this way, so I don't have the shape, but I have a large connected area of that color, those also score points. Those are going to score points. Each reef is going to score points of small animals adjacent to it. This one would not be adjacent because it just shares a corner with that reef. It would need to be over here. But reefs will also be a way that you can basically get more points with the small animals around it. In closing here, let me just show you some of the other, I'll just show you on here, the tiles, the other ecosystems. Again, you can shuffle these up. These are just kind of the core ones to play with, but then you have all these different advanced ones different types in here. So for each crab you have, for example, score 3 points for every native small animal adjacent to it. So for those crabs, whatever, that tile is with, those would score 3 extra points if they're around the crabs. So there's a few kind of like that. There's more about reefs. For each reef you have, you score 3 points for every native small animal. So it gives just bonuses to certain types of animals and large animals and where they're located. So that is AQUA. Lots of fun. Great table presence as well. It's really fun. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments below. Thanks for checking this out. I will also be reviewing, this is another one by Vincent Dutrait. This one here, also a fun game, very similar type of choosing mechanic of just very simple. You're gonna choose this, you're gonna place it. This one here is a little bit different themed. And so HUTAN, I'm gonna be posting a review. I will post a link when that gets posted, if it's posted, a link to that review in the description of this video as well, because they are gonna have a similar vibe to them, even though that the mechanics and how it works is a little bit different. So thank you very much. AQUA, fantastic family game, great solo mode as well. So lots of fun. That is how Lou sees it.